Ooh, shit. What's up, y'all? Sparty here. As you guys can see, there's a whole bunch of snow. It kind of almost fucked me. What I'm doing here is I'm doing more, if I can get it to focus. I'm doing a little bit more shooting on the Rebel T7 here, and recording on the V60. And the reason I'm not just doing a record, apologies. The Xfinity Wi-Fi crap came up and like stopped my video, so I got to do it again. But the reason I'm using the V60, not the camera itself, it only does 720p 60, which in itself is not terrible, but it's just not going to be besting any sort of phone at all. So I'm just deciding, initially what I just got this camera for, if the V60 will focus, is I mainly just got it for stills because I wanted to see how phones compete in terms of that, right? And that's what we're going to be doing. And I'm just going places that I haven't gone in the 10 plus years that lived over here. So, or I don't really live over here anymore. I just come here for work. So I'm just going to be taking pictures of more macro shots than anything and just doing that. It's not really going to be any comparisons or anything like that. But overall, I'm going to have my review come out within like the next week. So just stay tuned for that. And yeah, let's do this. Now, in using this camera, what I have noticed and what I do wish it did have was different filter modes. It does kind of suck that it doesn't have it, but I guess due to it being a more entry-level camera, what can you really expect, right? So, and by filter modes, I mean black and white and all that stuff. And it just would have been nice to have a black and white photo, just so that when you get like a bit of grain in your photo, it looks more stylistic than it looks like a limitation of either the sensor or the lens itself. So that does suck, but it's not that big of a deal. What you'll be seeing quite a bit of is there's a lot of bokeh, right? A lot of background blur. And compared to a smartphone sensor, despite the fact that, say, an LG V60 is a 64 megapixel sensor, and this has a 26 megapixel sensor, due to it being obviously a larger lens and a larger sensor in itself, you just get way more better background separation, way better, background blur. Though I'm going to be real, there are times where I feel I prefer something like a V60 with its bokeh and its background blur, mainly because of the fact that sometimes it can be a little bit too intense. But if that's the type of shot you're going for, it's fine. It's totally fine. So yeah, I'm gonna go and try and find this bridge that I wanted to walk on and take a couple pictures on. So I'm gonna go do that here real quick. Overall though, in terms of what this camera is, I think this just may be the review rather than just me, sitting in my room talking about the camera and then just saying random crap. It's just going to be walking, taking pictures when I find a picture and then putting it up. And obviously I'll just put up other pictures as well, just so you guys can see how it looks. And, you know, that's just what I want to do. All right, so a couple more things here. When you're trying to get super close, the autofocus will not be as reliable, because say you're taking a picture of a background where there's a plant, but there's a tree right behind it, right? This is something that smartphones also struggle with, where it'll do that, but then it'll still just focus on the tree. It won't even attempt to focus on the the flower or the plant or whatever, right? Speaking of plant, that's when you deploy manual focus. And the way to do that is you switch that AF/MF right there, and I have it switched to MF. And when you want to get super close, but you also want to get your subject in focus and have that very nice background blur, you can just do that. And it works really well. It really works well. I really don't have any sort of issue with it, other than the fact that there is some detail loss. But that could be due to the fact that while it's not super windy out, there is indeed wind. There is wind, so that's something that you do need to keep in mind. And yeah, things like that you just need to keep in mind when it comes to stuff like this, where say you want a shot where you either want to focus on the fence here, or you want to focus on that car that's about to turn right there. That's when manual focus to me just works better, because you could pinpoint that stuff. You may miss focus by a little bit, mainly because this camera doesn't have any sort of focus peaking. So that's another thing I wish it did have, that say my trusty V60 has, but you know, it's whatever. If the shot is detailed enough, and if the detail is there enough for you, you can just, well, you can't really add detail in post, but maybe just sharpen it ever so slightly, and maybe it'll work for you that way. Who knows? But yeah, overall, it's like I don't really have any sort of issues with. Oh, and of course the wind wants to pick up. Let me turn on this, see if that helps a bit. Yeah, this camera to me is very nice. Sure, it's not the best thing that you can get. Obviously, if you want that, you got to go higher tier, like a Canon EOS R5, R6, a Sony A7S III, or the new A1, or the Fujis or the Panasonics S1H and stuff like that. I understand that. But for somebody that just wants to take pictures and they don't really mind that it's not the sharpest thing out there, all they really want is, say, very nice background blur. I do feel that this camera gives you that. Like, it's $450, and I think it's $550 if you get the kit that has the second lens. That's the longer lens. I forget how long that lens is, but to me, that's a way better deal, because you get 2 lenses off the bat, and you don't have to either save money or, you know, find one off eBay. Enable for you, or eBay or KH Camera or actual camera places that have these sort of lenses for cheap. So honestly, yeah, I really do like how this camera performs. Let me see if I can get the V60 to, oh yeah, there we go. Now it's focusing on the school/YMCA right there. And even when you zoom in like that, it doesn't look terrible. And this is at 4K. So, yeah, 2x zoom, it doesn't look terrible. But yeah, that's all I really want to say with this. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys feel about this. I really do like this camera. I do recommend it for people that aren't really looking for the best of the best, but you want to get started and you want to see what you can do with a camera. Again, for somebody like me that has been using smartphone cameras heavily since the G2, and have been using manual mode since they came out with the G4. Well, phones like the Note 4 also had it before the G4, but in terms of, say, one that was heavily marketed, the G4 V10, this is a very nice option for somebody that wants to get a little bit more advanced. It's not intimidating to me. It's not hard to use. It's not anything like that. It's very well built, in my opinion, even though it's not obviously it's not made out of metal. It's made out of polycarb, plastic, and stuff like that. I don't know if it's weather sealed or not. That's something that I really can't tell. But it only has one card slot, but due to the fact that it is indeed a entry-level camera, what do you really expect? Just put a big card in there. Just get a SD card adapter. If you really want to get a lot out of it, put like a 400 gig card in there, 128 gig Jesus Christ, 128 gigabyte card in there. You'll get quite a bit out of the camera. And to me, that's what matters, right? Is that you get a lot out of your purchase. I don't regret the purchase at all. I really like it a lot. It handles skin tones well. It's a Canon. That's typically what people say about Canon cameras, right? Is that they tend to handle skin tones better than most cameras out there. So that's really nice. Yeah, but that's all I really want to say with this. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys feel. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday or whatever time of day it is in the area. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Show people that are interested in this sort of content. And, yeah, have a good one. Thanks for 982, 83 subscribers, whatever it ends up being at by the time I post this video, and have a good one.